another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paperboy. We just got done showering and we're all wet and slicked back, looking all sexy for all the ladies out there. Yeah, good luck on that. Going solo today because I'm going to talk about Whatnot. I know I did a video a while ago, about 30-minute video that you definitely do need to check out if you are selling on Whatnot or are interested in Whatnot. I wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up on that as some of the things that I found out about doing auctions over on Whatnot. And don't really need Mr. Magazine for this because, as everybody's aware, he's not the biggest fan of Whatnot. He and the auction professor are firmly against it. I happen to be for it. And one of the reasons why, I was talking with fellow YouTuber Jiminy Flippin about this, and where Whatnot is good is, if you look behind me, you may see the Three Seasons room back there, and it's filled with stuff. You don't have to get like that if you have Whatnot. And the theory is, you go and you purchase that stuff, and you grab a couple of things out of it that you like, and you sell those things elsewhere, and then that stuff you put up on Whatnot. So in other words, make it real easy. You pick up 100 items for $25. You take the 5 items that you like to list on eBay or wherever, and the other 95 items you sell off on Whatnot. And maybe you get 40 bucks back out of them, something like that. You're not making a lot of money, but you also don't have that behind you. And realistically, I'm not going to ever list those other 95 items. So it gives you an opportunity to pass deals along to other people, other resellers, and to collectors who may need inventory, who may be interested in this stuff, who may set up at booths, flea markets, all that kind of stuff. As long as you're able to buy right, you can sell stuff right. So that is why Whatnot works for me, as far as that goes, because I don't have any problem at all buying stuff. Neither does Mr. Magazine, but he hasn't grasped the fact that he's running out of room yet. He will at some point, though. But I did want to talk about a few things taking you backstage on Whatnot. The first thing is, how do you set up the auction? One thing that you definitely want to make sure that you do is you do not have your A+ number one item be the first thing in an auction. It takes a little while for people to come in, so you don't want to put the best item up first. What I usually do is I usually start the auction with a couple of slower things. I mean, they're not completely bad things, obviously, but they're not things that I would expect to go very, very high. It might get a bid or two, something other like that. But I start the auction up with that, and I kind of end the auction the same way. The middle of your auction is kind of where you want to have the better stuff at. You want to kind of lead up into it. The fact that I catalog makes that possible. If you don't catalog, this may not work for you. Another thing that I have definitely noticed, and let me back up one step. You definitely want to be sure that you're aware of how long it takes you to auction. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. Comic books, I do about 40 lots in about an hour and 5 minutes, something or other like that. Ephemera takes about an hour and 20 minutes to do 40 lots. Amazingly, trade cards, I was able to get through 54 lots in the same amount of time, an hour and 20 minutes. Why is this key? Most people start their auctions on the hour. Now, you may want to do something or other where you started at 4:20 because you're selling, underground comic books. Hey, get it? Whatever. You may want to make it your time where you start at 5:55. Whatever. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I remember, I think it was TBS used to start their shows at 4:05 for that very reason. I start my shows at 4 o'clock Eastern. I have noticed that I get a drop in viewership right around 5 o'clock. Now you're asking yourself, why is that? And at first I was thinking, well, it's because 5 o'clock people are leaving the office. That could be it. They might be sneaking watching Paperboy, which you can't blame them, at work. If you get paid to watch me, hey, all the better for you. Their husband, wife may have just gotten home from work, or maybe on the way and say, hey, what's for dinner? It could be any number of those things. But I have a theory that a lot of other people start their auction on the hour as well. So I'm auctioning at 4 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, 5 other people start their auction, or 10 other people start their auction that's on your watch list, and you leave my room to go check out what they have up for auction. So if you kind of have an idea of where you're going to be at around the next hour, put some lighter stuff up around there because you're probably going to lose some viewers at that point. So you probably want your best stuff to be showing up around 45 minutes past the hour, because you're not, people are going to have come around, checked other people's auctions, and if they like you, they like your stuff, they're going to be staying in your auction. So that's something other that I've not heard any other YouTuber talk about. So I kind of figured that out as far as that goes. You do need to realize that you have a very transient audience. People will wander in, wander out, wander in, wander out. There's no way of knowing at any given time who is in the room other than from them talking about to you on the chat. So you see people coming in and out all the time, and that's why you'll see 48 people come in the chat, and you'll look up and you'll still only have 12 people. They walked in, saw what you were doing, took a look at your catalog, and left. Do remember that it's a very transient crowd, and the reason I bring that up is because one thing that you definitely want to do is you want to repeat yourself. To the regulars that are in there, it probably gets old. They don't want to hear about the $1 Million Peddlers 18 times in a 2-hour period. However, you have to realize that you might have 5 regulars in there that are spending the entire time, but the other people have not heard it before. I go through my catalog and then I do last call at the end. The regulars know that. The other people don't know that. I start my auction at the same price every time, 30-second auctions. And again, the people that have been there know that. They've probably heard it 4 times already. But you have to keep doing that because you're going to have different people coming in all the time. So do not forget that. Very, very important you keep saying that. That's why I say multiple times, hey, I will be shipping. I might say 3-4 times in the feed, I will be shipping tomorrow. I will be shipping tomorrow. Because it puts people's minds at ease that just wandered in. And you never know who might be in there and who's sitting in there for the entire time. Another very important thing to remember is, and this is difficult when you're setting up your auctions, and that's what sells today may not sell tomorrow. And I'll give the perfect example. Silver Surfer comic books sold like hotcakes for the first couple of auctions I had. I don't believe I've sold one lot since then. You just never know who's going to show up. People show up and somebody wants Silver Surfer and they buy it. They show up the next week and then they're not there the following 3 weeks and the Silver Surfer lots languish. That will happen a lot more often than you think. So setting up the auction, it's not an exact science because you do not know exactly who's going to be showing up. I had a number of auctions where I had a good buyer show up and buy photos, and then all of a sudden they stopped attending the auctions. I think they may have been overwhelmed with merchandise as well. Who knows? They may have had their own life come up. I know they're a seller over there as well. Well, all of a sudden, the next couple of auctions, my photos were not selling. So you just absolutely never know what's going to sell from auction to auction. And the last thing I want to say, which kind of flies in the face of what I just said, you are going to have some regulars. There are people that are going to show up 9 auctions out of 10. Always go out of your way to put some stuff up for them in the auction. When they walk in, greet them and say, hey, so-and-so, got some photos. I know you're going to like them. They're coming up in a few lots. They do appreciate that. And then mention to them, hey, I know you might get busy, but you can always pre-bid. Do mention that to them as well. They definitely do like the fact that you are acknowledging them, that you appreciate their business. And of course, also always thank somebody after they win, no matter who it is. Say, hey, thank you for winning, type deal. And welcome to the family, etc. But again, when your regulars come in and you've got something or other that you set up just for them, do acknowledge them and say, hey, I wanted you to know that I've got a really nice lot that you're going to like of prints. They definitely do appreciate that you're aware of them, that you know who they are, and that you appreciate their business. So Whatnot still has some things I need to work out. I'm not hugely successful on it yet, but I'm doing okay on it. And I really do enjoy it, and we are building up the followers, and people are coming by auction after auction, so that's a wonderful thing as well. Give it a try if you haven't already, or if you gave it a try once and you said, geez, I don't know if this is for me or not. Give it a second try. If you view it in the right vein, that it is a way to get rid of merchandise, because the buying is the easy part. And like I said, I've got so much merchandise back behind me, I will probably never get all that listed, even if I dedicated myself to that. And even if I could, I've got the rest of the living room, I've got the basement, I've got the garage all filled with stuff. and I continue to buy. Better I move a lot of that stuff to other dealers who then can go ahead and make some money off of it, and I make money in the meantime moving it, than for me to end up selling it for pennies on the dollar, or my estate doing so in, God forbid, 30, 40 years, whenever that happens to be. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Do hit the like button. Do comment down below on any tips that you might have to help people on whatnot. And I will see you next video.